Hello friends, my name's Emile and welcome back to some more Forza Motorsport 6. Today we are doing another race build. This time we are using the 1985 Mazda RX-7. I've decided to use this car just because you can do some interesting things to it. It's a rotary car, which we haven't used one of those yet. And it's also an RX-7, which is a pretty damn cool car. Now, as far as this build goes, I think I'm going to do another street racer build, which is what we did with the Holden Commodore, where I try not to use too many like high-end parts on it. So that's the plan. So we're not going to be swapping the engine. There's two engine swaps. Neither of them are particularly interesting. As badass as the 2.64 rotor is, I can't use it because it's a street racer build. I will be using this at some point, probably in like an MX-5 or something, but not quite yet. And there's also the 5.7 V8, which is a big American Mustang engine. I don't want it. We are going to put the turbo on, and we're also going to put some body mods on. We're going to go for this front bumper because I kind of like the look of it. The Forza rear wing because downforce, which we'll need. This because it's the biggest rear bumper of the lot. And also this side skirt, again because it's big and it's the only one that really matches up. Now, the car itself is going on sports tyres because we're not using race tyres because obviously not a race car. So yeah, I've decided to use this RX-7 as well just because we haven't done anything really with any body mods in this series. I don't think I've actually ever done any like big body modifications to the cars. So yeah. Also, I'm going with these wheels because I really like the look of them, and we are going to be upgrading them to 17 inches. Because, yeah, we kind of want to get some aftermarket wheels on here as well. The stock wheels with that body kit look a bit weird. To be honest with you, after you've done the wheels, this car actually starts to look really, really nice. I actually really like the way this car looks. It's pretty damn cool. Right, we are going to throw in the... I think I'm going to go for the racing transmission, just because I kind of want to play with the gear ratios a bit, potentially. I'm not sure how many speeds this car has at standard. We're going to go for the race brakes because they put the red calipers on. We're also getting race suspension because that lowers the car to the ground. We're only going for sport weight reduction because we actually want to use this car on the road as like a daily driver maybe. So yeah, we're going for that. And we're also going to go for a full roll cage because kind of race car. I know everything I'm saying is contradicting. Right, one slight thing I am going to do is I'm going to put the race rotors on. Because I kind of want to. It pushes the power band out a bit. It gives us a bit more sort of play to the red line. So I'm going to go with the race rotors and compression. And I'm going to go for the sports turbo as well. This car is going to be basically less focused on handling and more focused on speed. Because I know the previous few builds have sort of been very handling based. Well, as I kind of want this one to be a little bit more, you know... not so handling based. Right, we just need to find something that can put us up into B class. Maybe the intercooler. We're going to throw the intercooler on just because it makes actual sense. Like, you know, you'd obviously throw an intercooler on a car if you put in upgrading your turbo. It's always a good thing to do, so yeah, we'll go for that. And we'll stick a street flywheel in. And if we're going for... ooh, maybe not go for a clutch. I was going to say if we're going for realism, we'll throw a clutch on, but no, we'll throw the sports driveline on. So at the end of all that, we have 308 horsepower, 252 pounds-feet of torque, and 2,547 pounds of weight. We're going to do some very minor tuning to this car. We're not going to do too much to it, obviously, but we are going to do some minor tuning. First of all, I'm going to bring these gear ratios in. You know, on most modern cars, you wouldn't do that. You know, you wouldn't find, you know, boy racers and stuff bringing in their gear ratios. But you kind of have to do it because the race gearbox screws with the car's engine. We are going to slam it to the ground. We're also going to stiffen it up because, again, it's sort of like a street racer car. And for some reason, people like really stiff suspension if they're making their street racy cars. So, yeah. And I've put slightly more downforce to the rear. So, there we go. That's the RX-7 built up. Now, how's this car going to perform? I'm somewhat curious. I also changed these settings before Why can't I use my car? I don't know why. I changed these settings before and it apparently didn't save them, but fair enough. We are going to go and take this car to a street circuit. We're going to go to Prague, and we are going to go and race with 24 other drivatars. let's see how this goes. I'm curious. I'm going to be curious to see what they throw in the event. So we're going to be seeing, you know, B-class cars. We're going to be seeing, you know, Aston Martins and stuff like that. So we'll have to see how my little RX-7 actually copes with the drivatars and the cars that they end up bringing. I'm kind of curious. Hopefully this car turns out pretty well. 300 horsepower isn't actually that much for a B-class car. This is relatively light, and it didn't get too much in the way of handling put onto it, but back in Forza Motorsport 5 you could sort of get away without running race tyres. So I'd be kind of curious to see whether I can get away with it in Forza Motorsport 6. Okay, we are on the track. We have our day mod that puts us into 22nd position, and we are ready to get on the starting grid. Let's see how our rotary sounds. That sounds like a rotary. Right. This car's apparently going to be permanently at red line. Fair enough. Right, off the line we get decent enough launch. Got myself a nice little... is that a CD player? I don't think it'd be a CD player in 1985. Anyways, woo, 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 woo. Everyone's piling on. We've got we've got loads of expensive vehicles here. We've also got some standard cars. Okay, we've got understeer. We have understeer, but it's actually not too bad to get back on the power. That's kind of interesting. I was expecting this car to be an absolute bitch to get straight back on power with, but no, it's fine. Overtaking a BMW M5 there. Yeah, this we'll have to see how it does for the rest of the race. Now, on Prague, the stiff suspension might be a bit of an issue just because it is a street circuit. There's loads of bumps and jumps in it, but it seems to be handling it relatively well. Lamborghini Urus there. Interesting car to bring to the racetrack, of course. Right, we've got the red crew up here, so let's take the Alpha on the inside. Can we get up the inside of the Urus, or is he going to shut the door? Just about got up the inside of him. I'm going to slam the brakes on though. Coming down here, Aston Martin DBS seems to be getting a bit sideways, as does the Bentley Continental. He's shutting the door on me. God damn it, Bentley. God damn it. You can really feel that stiff suspension over the tram lines. It's not good. So there is understeer in this car. Yeah, it isn't like that good, but to be fair, around the corners, I'm not losing grip or anything, which is quite surprising. I would have thought in a car like this I'd be, you know, just scrambling for grip from the rear end, but I can like full throttle it, and it gets a little bit unhappy, but it's like, it's pretty well planted, to be honest with you. This is actually a decent enough race car, believe it or not. Yeah, this might have to actually become my B-class racing car. It seems pretty much spot on. Try not to go into the back of a, I assume, very expensive at this point, Lamborghini Countach. We haven't hit anything yet, which is quite amazing, even though that Audi is being an Audi driver. Do like the RS-7 Sportsbacks, even if they are driven by complete and utter morons. Can we go up the inside of the Audi? Kinda. It does struggle around that corner, it seems, although I might have just clipped a curb a little bit too hard. But yeah, at the end of the first lap, we are in 5th position, which is actually really, really good. I'm actually really impressed with me little Mazda. Ooh, gonna dive straight up the inside of that guy. Although the understeer is kicking in. Where's the Audi? He's squirming about a little bit, but he's fine. Alright. Upwards to the Lotus Exige next. The Exige S. Can we get around the Exige? He's not going to break through there, fair enough. I think I'm going to dive up the inside as soon as he breaks into here. Oh, his brakes are a little bit better than mine, I would assume. The braking seems alright on this vehicle, to be fair. Relatively average. The only thing I will say is I probably bought the gear ratios in a little bit too much for, you know, longer tracks. On Prague, it just about deals, but on anything bigger than this, I would probably be scampering for more speed. Alright, anyways, we are coming up behind a BMW M6 next. We are in 3rd place, so we're doing relatively well. I'm going to dive up the inside. The brakes are just about going to get me stopped. Alright, we're past the M6 and we're on to our final car for the lead. The C63 AMG is in front. I should have probably put the driver tire difficulty up a bit at this rate. Jesus. We are absolutely and utterly destroying everyone here, apparently. Right, the Mercedes is apparently got very... stiff suspension didn't play off there. Right, we are sliding a bit now as I'm trying to push it a bit to get past this Mercedes. Oh, look at the straight line speed of him. Everyone here has probably got more straight line speed than I have. The only thing I'd really do to this vehicle, to be honest with you, is actually put some front downforce on it. That's like the only real complaint I have about this vehicle at the moment, is it could do with some more front downforce. Ooh, that was a bit of a risky overtake, but we are past the Mercedes as we go on into the final lap. The Mazda has been an absolute joy to drive. This has actually been a really, really good race build. Yeah, this probably is one of the better cars we've actually built in any of my builds, to be honest with you. It's really, really good. It's, you know, for the most part, the cars that I build here are predictable. You know, they have issues, but they always seem to be relatively predictable and so on and so forth. This car isn't predictable, but in a good way, if that makes any sense. Like, it's dependable, not predictable. You know, with the Holland Tirana, I remember that thing would just, like, breaking traction, but I know how to deal with it with the Tirana. You have to be very careful with it. Well, as this, you know, full throttle, 4th gear, other than some understeer, which tells you you're being a bit of a moron, it's completely fine, and it deals with it. It's great. It's honestly very, very good. I am suitably impressed by my little Mazda RX-7 street racer car. It's brilliant. It's honestly, it's brilliant. Just get on the brakes a little bit there. Did get a little scary. But other than that, it seems pretty much spot on, to be honest with you. Again, no real complaints, other than I would kind of like some front downforce. Other than that, this car is awesome and ready to go. Never actually seen anyone build one of these 85 Mazda RX-7s, but as it turns out, they're actually really good cars, and I would heavily recommend them to people. We are up. There we go. Yeah, the understeer does bite eventually, but to be honest with you, that was probably more me being a moron than anything else. Yeah, the RX-7 is a very, very, very good car. Highly recommend building one of these up. Build it up to B class, see how you do, and yeah, tell me what your sort of builds are for this vehicle. A bit of oversteer there, but again, I don't mind a little bit of oversteer, it's just a lot of it. There you go, 3rd gear, floor it. You can get the tail out, but only just. Yeah, pretty incredible car this. Absolutely incredible. Great. Absolute joy to drive, really fun. And yeah, it's been a really nice build, this one actually. It's resulted in me getting a good car, and hopefully it's resulted in you guys getting a good video. Anyways, I want to thank you all very much for watching. My name's been the Real Emile. Until next time, farewell.